Okay.
Oh, that's the beginning.
Now we can see. No, the beginning is this one. Welcome.
No, I want rim shot to be like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's about it.
What's the other one? Oh, that's a big applause.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You did it.
There we go. And 3.
All right, we're starting. I have to push it to turn it
off.
off.
Dude.
Okay.
So what's up? How are you?
We're talking.
How are you? I guess we should introduce ourselves. I'm Dominic Stringer at KWRW.
I'm Travauna Rapp, your preferred realtor for St. Charles County.
Unless your name's Dominic.
Your second best.
Aaron Emerson, New American Funding.
So Aaron, what do you do at New American Funding? Please, for someone that doesn't know what New American Funding is.
Sure. So it's we're a mortgage company, and we only do residential loans.
Only do residential?
Only do the residential. We can refer for commercial, but residential is defined as like four units or less. Okay. So 4-family still residential. So we help people get into homes. So a lot of people think that there's like the biggest obstacle we get is people not having down payments and thinking they can't buy a house, but it's just the opposite. There's a million programs out there. So
what are some of those programs then?
I say you offer lots.
Yeah,
yes.
Without a down payment, that sounds like pretty good. A lot of people would probably like that.
Yeah, matter of fact, I just met with somebody today, and she, the 2 big ones are St. Charles County gives out a $10,000 grant for certain people. So, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a first-time home buyer, but that's obviously a big part of the down payment.
Right.
Another one is USDA, which stands for U.S. Department of Agriculture, and they're rural. So they want people to move out to the rural sections. So they'll give you they will give you 100% financing, really good rates, really cheap mortgage insurance to move out anywhere basically west of Wentzville. And there are some sections of 63301 like Orchard Farm area.
I was going to say, there's some spots that aren't so rural.
Yes.
That still qualify.
Yeah, well, shoot. I mean, up until 2020 when the new census came out, Wentzville was considered rural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
No, it is not anymore.
Still get USDA loans?
Yeah,
Up until
2020,
2022?
you could get
2020.
2020. Yeah, that's the new census is every 10 years.
Well, I got on there and checked it out because, I was looking to buy a house. It was
Oh, yeah.
actually Wentzville. And that house specifically was in the map for USDA.
For USDA, yeah, it's great. There's some limitations, so there's an income ceiling, but there's some ways to get around the income ceiling too.
Is it different for everybody, or is it?
Yeah, it's mainly dependent. So the bigger your family is, the higher your income can go. So
Okay.
usually it's about 90,000,
Okay.
but the bigger family goes up over 100,000. And then the grant right now is limited to St. Charles County is 10, but anywhere St. Louis County, Jefferson County, anywhere is a minimum of probably 3,000, 3,500. So that combined with some other programs, you can get away with no money down pretty much anywhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I
Yeah,
feel
it's solid.
That's like a really big thing for a lot of people. They're
Yeah.
scared of interest rates for so long.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That same lady I just met with a little bit ago, I said, she brand new, she had no idea anything about mortgages at all.
Right.
Okay.
And I said, hey, do you know what's going on with rates? And she said no. And I said, well, they're, probably around 6-7% right now. And she said, oh, that's pretty good.
Yes.
And I said,
it really
actually,
is.
yeah, you're right.
So let's get to that. What's the actual difference between a 4 and a 7%, and where is 7% considering where we have been the past, let's say 10 years instead of 2 years, because we know that was kind
Right.
of
That was
a mess.
cray. That was cray.
So it's 7%, maybe a 0.5% higher than where it's been over the last 10 years. So when I came into the business was 2001, rates were about 7.5%. Then they dropped to 6.5%. Then they dropped to about 5.5% and stayed around there for a while. And then they started going back up until COVID hit. So we had the recession, COVID, and when COVID hit, rates actually went up for a little while, and then just plummeted. Yeah.
Where were they at when COVID hit?
So they were right around 4%, 5% on their way back up. So basically, COVID was this really weird section in time where interest rates were just lower. It's like if you take COVID out, rates progressed up as they should.
Right.
But it was there. So everybody and their mother refinanced.
Right.
So there was a dead part end of last year where, not a lot of houses were moving. And basically what it was is people just getting used to the higher interest rates.
Yeah.
Well,
They stopped looking because
Right.
they
higher
were
than
scared.
what they had been.
Higher than what they were used
Still
to.
historically low.
Yes, historically low. Yeah, I mean, In the 80s, my parents were telling me like interest rates are like 17, 18%.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I didn't even think that was a possibility.
I know.
I
It's
think
like credit cards now.
If that were to happen today, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation.
What, like 18%?
Yeah.
What, because you'd be in a different
Because
industry?
because there would not. Yeah, absolutely. There would be no houses being closed.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be a very
Well, yeah.
specified market.
Yeah.
At that point, which I mean, right now I think everyone's getting over the fact that interest rates are at a 7% because people
Yeah.
like you have so many different programs. I mean, there's cash buyer programs now. There's
Yeah.
rate buy downs, and you can get rate buy downs for what? There's a 1-0, a 1-2, and a
Yeah,
and a
so
1-2-3 or 3-2-1.
I can you get a little, I can barely hear you. Just
Hello?
There we go. There we go.
Turn this up. This is a new thing. We'll get there one day.
There we go.
Let me DJ.
Yeah, so there you go. I just needed
Oh wait, hold on.
rim shot.
Hold on, rim shot. Boom.
Donna can't hear any of this, so he's just like, what's going
I'm
on?
blind, so the first time I'm going to see this and hear this is going to be.
Yeah,
Well,
and then we'll be
rim shot.
instantly fired.
I play drums, so I know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's all sorts of stuff. So, like, we as a company, or me personally, like, anybody who goes through our cash buyer program gets 1% off the interest rate for the first year.
Okay.
So if it's whatever 6.5% right now, they get 5.5% for the first year, and then it goes up. But all signs are leading towards Q4. So like Christmas, Thanksgiving time, rates are going to drop down, which I'm like 95% sure that's going to happen. So what we're also doing is giving a free refinance.
Okay.
So the beauty is now is the perfect time to
Talk
buy.
about date the rate.
Yes.
Is it actually a realistic way to date the rate? Instead
Yeah.
Date
Yeah.
the rate, marry the house.
Marry the house.
Everyone's seen the memes.
Yes.
I think, well, and like we're doing now, just there's all kinds of cool programs, but just educating people about the home buying process. People just hear things on the news like mortgage rates, da 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 da, and then they're just scared because they're playing off of when it was lowered. Like,
Yeah. And the other big one that people talk about all the time. Matter of fact, I got an email today on that. He said, when is this bubble going to burst?
Oh, yep, that's it. That's a
So
typical
okay,
one.
well that's a way to question one because it depends what bubble you're talking about.
Right.
Are you talking about the actual like price of the home
Get
bubble?
your
Like,
chair up so we can hear you better. Scooch in.
Scooch,
There you
scooch.
go.
There you go.
There you go.
are you talking about like the pricing bubble, or are you talking about the inflation bubble? Because people are thinking both.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, the prices are going to go down, and inflation is going to go down to where it was, and realistically, that's not going to happen.
Right.
Like, there's a very rare, small chance, possible but not probable. Right?
Yeah. So I think the two are really closely related, pricing and inflation.
Right.
So for obvious reasons, but yeah. So the biggest thing is every decade in America we build about 25 million houses.
Oh, I love this stat.
It's all
I get excited
yeah.
about
This literally changed. Like there's a guy that Travauna and I know that changed his whole career path after I showed him this stat.
Yep.
He went from doing rehabs to doing new constructions because of what I'm about to tell
Because
you.
of the housing shortage.
Yeah.
We talk
talk-
about
Yeah,
housing
yeah.
shortage.
So,
Go on with
so
it.
every decade there's about 25 million houses built since like 1950.
Right.
And then in 2000 to 2010, it was substantially shorter, probably like 20 million or so, 17 million. I don't know the exact number.
Yep.
And that was because of the recession. So like 2008 hit, people just stopped. Like there was not a house to be bought. Then fast forward to, took several years to recover from that. A lot of foreclosures.
Yeah.
So foreclosures clearly drive down the prices of houses.
I remember when I was a kid, my parents were like super scared, and they said foreclosure, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. I'm
Yeah.
still in a home, so like I didn't even feel that kind of like difficulty. Like,
you
don't get
were-
me wrong.
Yeah.
It was definitely more peanut butter and jelly instead of like cooked meals. But
Hold on,
Right.
I
I
have
didn't
to
really.
pause. Talk about decade. There's a decade between you and I, and a decade between you and I.
Crazy.
So we have like super different views on like how everything
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
happened.
think that's cool.
2008 for me was like, what's
Can I
his
have a
name? Like,
PB and J?
Yeah. Well,
That is
But it
interesting.
was like country music on the radio, and everyone was happy, and the country felt like it was a country, but I didn't know any better, right? So
Yeah.
like, I don't know if
Yeah.
anything has majorly changed since then.
I think it's
Feelings-
cool.
Oh, I think it has.
I think it's cool that there's really,
Are you calling me an old man?
Yeah,
Is that-
you're old.
Yeah.
as crap.
Okay.
You're young.
Old as crap.
And
Thank
that's
you.
Perfect. Anyways, but no,
As
I just
always.
want to like point that out. Like, there's
Yeah. No, that's different perspectives.
and we're all in the same industry, and so, anyways.
Yeah. So the 08. So you
I
were
graduated high school. In
high school.
07.
Yeah.
I
So
was
you were
freshman
young.
college.
I was 8.
I was in the working age,
Yeah.
and
I
then
was
you were right
18.
out of college. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. So
I got
yeah.
out of high school.
Right out. Sorry,
Please
ma'am.
edit that in.
Right out of high school. So,
Back to the decade of 2010.
yeah, so
2019.
2010 to 2020, everybody knows Corona, labor shortage, supply shortage.
Yeah.
So between 2010 and 2020, we're at about like 3 or 4 million houses.
So we're lacking 20
Yeah.
million in that
So it's
decade.
so we're way behind. And there's still a labor shortage. You guys know there's still a labor shortage, still a supply shortage.
Emerson closed down. They didn't say it was because they couldn't make sales. It says that they didn't have enough people to work.
Who did that?
Emerson Bakery.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's why it closed down.
Well,
I was
that's why
super
a lot,
bummed.
a lot of things are closing down.
Yeah.
Like, is workers.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
not necessarily.
Yeah.
So the shortage of materials is due to shortage of workers.
Yes.
Not that the materials are.
And some
not there.
supply. I mean, the war with Russia affects everything, or between Russia and
Definitely
Ukraine.
did. And that random ship that like blocked a canal
Yeah.
for like 2 weeks. Did you forget about
Yeah.
that? Like that was a real thing.
Oh, there's
I
like-
know.
They're like, no one could get any of their online orders. They blamed the whole world blamed
It was like
It was
Tom
like-
Thumb. Like the world was just stopped by
Yeah,
one
yeah,
little
yeah,
leak
I
there.
tried to order what I ordered. It was like the oven seam covers, crack covers.
What the
you know
hell
what I'm
are you
talking
ordering?
about? I don't know because
Crack
my mom
covers.
wanted my
Crack
mom
covers.
wanted one. And they were like, no, it's coming from like Mexico, but it's not going to get here because the ship's blocking it. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's so
on the
crazy.
other side of the world. Like, I don't know.
So yes, there's a housing shortage.
Yeah, so huge-
Because they could not build.
Yeah.
We're about 20 million behind. And,
Yeah.
And I feel like they're just the
20 million
Builders.
behind. It sounds like we need to be builders.
Yes.
So the builders are working their little butts off, but it's not enough.
But think about this for a second too. So have you guys heard the spots on the radio that are like, "Hey, we've got X and X. We're gonna buy your house immediately."
Oh yeah.
Well, do you think they're in the business of making or losing money?
I'm gonna
It-
guess.
Depends
Right.
on. It depends on a lot, actually. It
So-
depends on if you were like, yeah, COVID's gonna make the housing market last forever, and then you put everything into
They
it, and
definitely
then
want
it.
to make money.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
they're
you
gonna go
want
out
to do,
there.
but
I had this with I went on a listing appointment and they loved me as an agent and what I could do for them, but somebody had said, "Well, we're gonna buy it for this," and I said, "Okay, do you understand that?" They said they had told them what they planned to do. You know, we're gonna come in here, do some of this, and sell ourselves. We'll give you this cash, right? I'm like, you know, they're making money, right? So
Right.
why don't we go and put it on the market and you get the amount that they're gonna go get for it?
right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what they're banking. Like there's groups of investors that are buying all the way through the Midwest and the state because they know for the next 15 plus years there's a housing shortage.
Right.
So it's they're like the way I say this all the time. The way I look at real estate is like a mutual fund. So it depends on what neighborhood you buy, is what like stock or what you're investing in. So what they're saying is, you know what, we're going to buy 50,000 houses and just sort of hedge our bets. We know as a market
right.
everything's going to go up. So yeah, there's going to maybe they'll screw up and hit some that are
Bumps, but-
yeah, some bumps, but they know those are just outliers, and
Well,
they
they're
know
gonna-
they're going to make money. So that's why you see all these radio spots about people saying, "Hey, I'll buy your house for cash now, live in it as long as you want," because they're banking on that huge equity.
Right, that makes
So the long story short is there's a lot of people that are worried, one, about the bubble, but there is no bubble. We've done that. We looked at the facts, right?
Right.
Two is that they're worried like, oh, house prices are up, I can't afford it. Well, if you're going to afford, if you can't afford it now, you're not going to be able to afford it next year.
Right.
So
So
we
doing
have
what
to,
you can now, making a plan is going to be really, really important.
Yes.
For especially, I mean, what the first time home buyer? They said the average first time home buyer now is like 36.
I don't even know that
It-
said. Yeah,
36.
is it really?
And
It's
was,
higher,
it
yeah.
was before it was like 26 or 27
Yeah,
or
I
something
think it's like
that.
32.
So
Wow.
that's 10 years of equity lost in a generation.
Yes.
Like,
Well, and the
that's-
thing is, people think they can't buy because they're not educated on, you know, they hear that rates are high, whatever. They're not educated on the programs that you have for payments down. And they're like, okay, well, I have to rent. Well, hello, rent prices. I mean, you literally
Ugh.
can get such a house right now for what is being charged in rent.
For sure.
The kid I just talked to, he's like, I'm looking for a place to rent. I said, why would you rent? Why wouldn't you just start building equity? Well, I don't think I can buy. Yes, you can.
Did
And
you,
I'm gonna
how much was he paying for rent?
I'm going to show you how. I was in the coffee line. I was holding up traffic. I just
Oh, this wasn't the okay.
But I will
So
tell
this is
you.
the other one.
I'll tell you soon because I'm going to meet with him.
Yeah, you are.
But you know what I mean? Like, just the demand for housing, not just affecting the real estate market and buying, but like prices of rent. I mean, there's
Yeah.
apartment buildings going up everywhere,
And that's why there's more homeless.
and it's so expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so expensive.
Do you think that we should be trying to build first-time home builds again?
Yes.
To fix
Yes.
the issue?
Yes.
Because, I mean, like I've talked to you guys about this multiple times. Like, no one builds a 2-bedroom house.
Right.
No one builds
Yeah,
a
they're not
4-room home anymore, and just it has a bunch of them real close. Like, if you look at Old Town Wentzville, Old Town O'Fallon, Old Town St. Charles, like, they're all the same way. And the reason that so many people were able to move there and live there at one point is because the houses
They're
were less than
starting out.
half the
Yeah.
size. I mean, these
Yeah,
are
they're
900
starting out.
square foot houses. When was the last time you saw a 900 square foot house being built?
Right.
I'm not saying that it's, the best option, but I'm saying that it would,
It opens it up a little bit more
for
for first-time
sure.
home buyers.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, everyone wants to try to build their own home, and if there's not anything in the market right now that we can use for most of the first-time home buyers, because there's so many other people looking for them, you might as well build homes for the first-time home buyers, since they're the ones that don't have
Yeah.
as much of an option anyway. I mean, it's definitely there. It's just, I mean, in St. Charles County, properties between 200 and 300, multiple offers still consistently.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, honestly, right now, just from what I did, the looking I did today, if you're like sitting 225, 250, you're getting a condo or a villa. Like,
Yeah.
You are getting probably a 2-bedroom, but it's going to be like a villa or a condo.
Or a fixer-upper, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to put some sweat equity into it, which,
Yeah.
I mean,
There are rehab loans.
yeah, we're working every day to help people get into those more affordable.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I feel like people just need to get their foot in the door. So,
Yeah.
it's not going to have to be your dream home. You're not going to get everything you want by any means, but you'll still build equity. And what came to mind just when I was thinking now is what was the guy that he bought the house in like October and just sold it now? Like, do you remember what he bought it for and what he's selling it for?
Yeah, because I helped them buy it.
Right. That's why I figured you might know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not much of a difference in what he purchased it from and what we're selling it for, but that's his specific situation. If we were to like go full to market, I definitely think we could list it even higher.
Oh, okay. So I guess what I'm thinking is, so like, I remember my first house was a similar market to this back when you were like 2, and you were 12. Damn, I'm old. But yeah, I had it for a year. I did nothing to it, and it was a lower house. It was like 130. I think I bought it for.
Right.
I painted a room and sold it for 160 the next year.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so then I profit that 30 grand. I obviously just put into my next house, but I paid, my mortgage was whatever, like $1,200 a month. So 12 times 12 is what, 14,000 I paid in mortgage or rent. Some people actually call it rent. Like, Aaron, what's my rent, when it's really mortgage?
Right.
But my rent was like 14 grand. So that means I netted $16,000
Right.
because I just bought, and it was 100% financing at the time.
That shows you the beauty of ownership right there.
Yeah.
Just owning it over a period of time. Like, you're going to be paying a mortgage. You're paying a mortgage. You're either paying yours or you're paying someone else's. So all those renters, you are paying a mortgage. So you think you can't get a house or you can't pay a mortgage. You're already doing it. You're just paying your landlord's mortgage.
Right.
So, and you're just being charged more for less.
Yeah.
So, and when you leave that home, you're not getting any of that equity.
Yeah. You know what? Matter of fact, we just got back from Nashville for my oldest. We're doing college visits. And I talked to my wife and I said, hey, let's go look at some of the houses around here because we're more than likely
Yes.
going to buy a house in Nashville.
Absolutely.
Let him and his roommates rent it out
Right.
for 4 years or whatever, how long it takes them to graduate, and then sell it.
Or keep it as a rental.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, rent it out to some other
Yeah.
college kids.
So that way, and there's some special programs on that too in terms of financing. But that way, I mean, yeah, it's going to cost me a down payment because it's not my primary residence, but I'm going to be building up that equity.
For sure.
And that's the thing. I mean, it is. It's either invest in a home for you instead of investing in
Yeah.
someone else.
I mean, there's a place and time for rental. Like, I totally
Oh,
get,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
need somewhere to go. Yeah, absolutely. If it's
Yep.
going to take you a year, dude, honestly, most of the time, to set up a good plan, if you're not ready right now, a year is about right.
Right.
If
Yeah.
someone talks to someone like you and it's like, hey, what do I need to do for the next year to make sure I'm good by this time to go look for a home?
We
or
have those
build one?
conversations with people
All the time. All the time.
It's
I
the
mean-
best way to do it, and everyone's scared, like, oh, I'm not ready. Well, you're not going to be ready unless you talk to somebody.
Right.
He's not like charging you for like a consulting charge. He's just, hey, this is what we're going to need, so let's build
Yes.
a plan
Right.
so you can do it when you're ready.
We call those buyer strategy sessions, and
Yes.
your buyer strategy session can happen a year out, a year and a half. I mean, one of my closings in May is a girl that I started talking to over almost 2 years ago
Sure.
about buying a house. You know, like we sat down, here's where we're at. It doesn't make sense yet. No, well, let's start looking this way. The closing that we had, one of our closings last month, I'd started talking to them over a year ago, and they were just dead set on like, we can't buy. Didn't have the education yet, and so like I was like, all right, we'll just sit down and talk. And that's the thing, just sitting down for anything, right? Just having a strategy, because it may not be tomorrow, it may be sooner than you think, but it may not be tomorrow, it may not be 6 months, it may not be a year. But
Yeah, and I think just alleviating the fear. I think that's a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Like people just don't think. We had a conversation Travauna and I did with a couple of professors like a month ago.
yeah,
And, you know, good income, good credit, good assets, the whole nine. But they just didn't think they could buy a house.
they just didn't see themselves as homeowners. They just
Yeah.
feel like, oh, well, we're not in a position to buy a
Right.
house. We haven't made it, and it's like,
Yeah, no,
We've
you
got to-
absolutely can.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. So yeah, it's just having those conversations
Mm-hmm.
and the coffee drive-through or wherever.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just
Go out in public, be a part of things.
Yeah.
just do things and tell people like it's very much a possibility for people.
Yeah.
I think that most people my age / generation they don't see themselves ever to be in a position to be able to buy a home. 9 out of 10 of them, they're like, yeah, no, with the way the world's going, we're not going to be able to buy one. And if you would just sit down and at least think about why you want it, you would have a reason to make a plan.
Sure.
To be able to just do it. Even if you get 50% of the way there, cool, do it again, you're there.
Right.
And it's it. Don't get me wrong, it might take longer than a year. Like for me, it's definitely going to take me probably longer than a year. What if it doesn't, though?
Right.
If I don't try
Right.
it, then I won't.
You
know
have to
either
be
way.
prepared. You have to have a
Right,
goal
for
to
sure.
go to. Yeah.
I think it's just you know, helping people with their mindset, that mentality, and getting that fear out. And a lot of people with anything, right, whether it's to buying a home or anything, they're saying no because they don't have all the facts, right? There's a fear there because they don't see the value or they don't have all the facts, and that's what we're here to do.
You know-
Share the facts.
Yeah, and another fact or obstacle I think a lot of people are worried about, and I think this is honestly one of the biggest fears that keep people from coming to see me, is credit.
Yeah.
And there is a guy I just got the approval on literally just now in my phone. So he had a low credit score, and there's a number of things you could do that I just look at the credit, run a system, and then have him do it. So within about a week and a half, his score jumped to 100 points.
100 points.
Yeah. So he went from
Wait, hold on. I want to do this.
oh, are you going to clap? Thank you. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you, St. Louis. I love doing that at like 4th of July fireworks. And like the whole crowd standing up, and I just turn around like, thank you. I appreciate you too.
I did this.
It's all me. But no, there's like, I never say no to anyone.
Right?
Never.
That's what I tell people.
Maybe not right now,
Right.
but we'll get a plan together. And then credit is just like, if you're scared of it, you just got to rip the Band-Aid off. Let me take a look, and we'll be able to. With a year is a ton of time to get credit fixed,
definitely.
You
and
know-
a lot of times with little money too.
You know, our buyer we sat down with not too long ago and is in a situation where he has to get out of mom's basement.
Yes,
He texted me the other day and he was like, I've got this and this paid off, and so I'm working on this now.
good.
Just because we sat down, and a lot of people don't understand. So for those of you that don't know, real estate agents, loan officers, we don't get paid until we help you close your home.
Right.
So, you know, we're not asking, it's totally free to sit down and have these conversations. We're not asking for
Yeah.
payment or anything. And honestly, luckily the three of us here are people that want to just pour value into people. Like, and just sitting down and having that conversation. And he's like, okay, now I'm working on this. Like, you could see, or I guess feel the hope in his text. Like, okay, I got this done and now I'm moving on to this. All right, cool. Awesome. Let's do
Yeah.
it. So-
And those are the ones I get. I feel are more rewarding for me personally.
Oh, yeah.
Like taking somebody who just like I had one person that had living in black mold, and they get him to the point where they have credit, and then to buy a house, and they're just like crying, and it's awesome.
Well, it's super empowering too.
Not the
because-
crying part. Like
I mean,
helping
crying out of
after.
happiness.
Oh,
Good
okay.
Yeah.
tears.
Yeah.
Crying is a good.
Crying is good.
I do a lot of that. Yes, everybody knows.
Yeah.
But yeah, super empowering for them too, right? Because it's
Sure.
not just like, I don't know, we just kind of show them like, you can do this. I mean, you have a part in this. You got to do this, this, and this. But then once they're like, well, I just bought a house. I
Yeah.
love that. What else can I do? Or what, whatever. I just paid off this. And
Yeah, and it is funny too. Like, there's a lot of people from rural areas that I just get a lot of referrals from because they traditionally have like old school banks where it's like that, where everybody gets the impression of what financing is. You good, Dominic?
Oh,
Oh boy.
there you go. Now we can see ourselves.
Hey, there you go.
Heyo.
We got like 2 minutes left on this.
On this,
card.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And super fast.
Yeah, right. Hey, thanks for joining us today.
I don't remember what the hell I was talking about.
Do we have more cards?
Yeah, I'm sure we got more.